When a highly charming, completely wholesome, beautiful family music trio slowly stepped directly onto the massive, brightly lit television stage, the massive global audience completely, absolutely expected a deeply heartwarming musical performance. Instead, they completely, entirely, accidentally walked directly into a massive, highly terrifying psychological television trap. By entirely, actively, heavily delivering an incredibly flawless, completely perfect musical harmony, they completely, violently triggered the highly dangerous hidden reality television curse. In the incredibly highly complex, completely massive, greedy global television industry, absolute complete musical perfection without any massive, deeply heavy, traumatic human drama is completely, entirely, deeply, heavily considered incredibly, highly, terribly boring. Today, we are completely actively tearing entirely directly open the incredibly massive, highly terrifying psychological manipulation, entirely actively targeting this beautiful, innocent family band, completely heavily exposing the deeply terrifying reality television matrix that actively completely hates pure, unproblematic human talent entirely, directly, without mercy. The investigation, the psychological trap of perfection.
The completely, entirely massive, highly beautiful family dynamic, completely actively featuring a deeply loving father, actively performing completely perfectly, flawlessly, directly alongside his two incredibly talented young sons, is absolute, completely pure, massive television gold. However, this incredibly beautiful, entirely flawless, wholesome human relationship completely violently lacks the deeply massive, highly intense psychological friction that the incredibly massive greedy corporate television industry completely, entirely, desperately, entirely, completely, aggressively, constantly demands. The massive, highly elite, completely, deeply experienced television executives completely, entirely, actively, heavily, deeply, completely, actively, absolutely hate completely, entirely, completely, perfectly happy human families entirely because they cannot successfully, actively, violently, heavily exploit any deep, massive, hidden psychological trauma completely, perfectly live on a massive global broadcasting network completely freely. By completely, actively, aggressively, heavily, entirely choosing to completely, beautifully, flawlessly, completely, actively sing the incredibly massive, deeply, highly legendary global acoustic masterpiece entirely titled Take Me Home Country Roads, they completely, entirely, accidentally, actively, absolutely walked completely, deeply, directly into a massive, highly dangerous psychological television minefield.
This completely massive, incredibly highly famous, beautiful acoustic song is completely, entirely, deeply, globally, absolutely, deeply, fiercely, universally, completely loved by absolutely, entirely, completely, entirely millions of entirely, totally innocent global human beings. However, the massive, highly critical, entirely deeply aggressive celebrity judging panel completely entirely views this incredibly highly safe, completely popular musical acoustic choice as a completely entirely massive, highly terrible, severe, deeply unforgivable television crime, completely lacking raw, absolute, pure human artistic risk. Completely. We absolutely must completely, deeply, strictly, carefully analyze the incredibly massive, highly flawless, acoustic, completely pure technical execution, completely, actively, heavily demonstrated entirely, completely beautifully throughout their incredibly, entirely massive, deeply short television audition. Their completely, entirely massive, highly pure acoustic vocal harmonies were absolutely, completely, entirely, heavily, deeply, mathematically, perfectly, completely, flawlessly, precisely, entirely, strictly, deeply, perfectly, tightly, completely aligned.
And any standard, normal, traditional, massive, global, acoustic musical industry completely separated from greedy television. This entirely, absolutely, completely, highly flawless acoustic perfection would immediately, completely, strictly, entirely, heavily, absolutely guarantee a massive, highly lucrative corporate recording contract, completely, instantly, completely, without any absolutely, completely, deep, entirely, highly unnecessary human television drama, completely, entirely, totally, fully. The completely, entirely massive, highly terrifying, deep psychological, emotional acoustic television attack completely, entirely, strictly, aggressively began. The absolute, entirely, completely, exact, literal, massive, heavy, deep human second that the legendary, highly elite judge Simon Cowell completely, actively, aggressively, slowly, heavily, completely opened his incredibly, highly, completely, entirely, massive, highly powerful, famous television mouth. Instead of completely, actively, heavily, entirely, completely, entirely, absolutely, completely praising their incredibly highly massive, pure, flawless acoustic vocal perfection, he completely, actively, violently, entirely, aggressively, deeply weaponized their absolute, entirely, completely, entire massive acoustic purity, entirely, completely, directly, absolutely, completely, heavily, aggressively, strictly, actively, successfully against them.
He completely, entirely, highly, violently, absolutely, completely, successfully, aggressively planted a massive, highly terrifying, entirely psychological, dark, heavy television seed. Simon Cowell completely, entirely, successfully, highly, aggressively, completely, deeply, fiercely looked entirely, completely, directly, entirely into their completely massive, highly innocent human eyes, and absolutely, completely, violently, entirely, aggressively, deeply, strictly warned them that actively, completely, heavily, successfully playing it entirely, completely, incredibly, completely, highly, absolutely safe is the absolute, completely, highly, completely, extremely massive, deeply, incredibly, terribly, riskiest, dangerous thing they can absolutely, completely, actively, entirely, completely, successfully possibly do. This completely, entirely, incredibly, highly terrifying, massive, deep psychological paradox is the absolute, completely, entirely, deep core hidden secret of the massive global reality television industry. They completely, entirely, heavily, deeply, actively, entirely, absolutely, successfully, violently, completely, thoroughly, actively, entirely, successfully demand that artists bleed entirely, completely, fully on the absolute, completely stage entirely forever.
This incredibly massive, deeply heavy, entirely, completely terrifying psychological reality absolutely, completely, entirely, actively, severely, deeply, completely, successfully highlights a completely massive, entirely, incredibly, highly, deeply, severely, entirely, completely, incredibly toxic double standard completely existing within the massive television matrix. An incredibly, entirely, completely, highly, completely terrible, deeply, completely, highly, entirely awful singer who completely, actively, violently possesses a completely massive, incredibly heavy, entirely, highly, deeply, completely, entirely, absolutely tragic, deep, human, traumatic backstory will absolutely, completely, entirely, completely, easily, successfully, absolutely, highly, aggressively, entirely, immediately, easily advance. Meanwhile, a completely, entirely, highly massive, pure, completely flawless acoustic musical family completely, actively, entirely, deeply, successfully, absolutely, actively, entirely, deeply, strictly faces immediate television elimination.
By completely, actively, aggressively, heavily, entirely, successfully, violently dropping this incredibly massive, highly dark, completely, entirely heavy, psychological, completely deep warning completely directly onto their massive, highly innocent human shoulders, the massive elite celebrity judging panel has completely, entirely, heavily, actively, successfully, deeply, fundamentally, completely, strictly, permanently altered their entire massive future television trajectory completely, totally, fully, perfectly, completely, absolutely forever. The beautiful acoustic family band is absolutely, completely, entirely, completely, highly, fundamentally, now completely, entirely, highly, deeply, violently, aggressively, completely, deep, intensely, absolutely, totally, completely, fiercely, actively forced to completely, actively, radically, artificially, completely alter their entirely, absolutely pure, massive human musical, completely artistic identity, absolutely, successfully, completely, simply to actively survive. This incredibly massive, deeply, highly terrifying psychological acoustic television maneuver is absolutely, completely, entirely, heavily, actively, strictly, deeply, entirely, actively, completely, totally, not just completely, actively, completely, heavily, entirely, actively, successfully directed at the entirely, deeply innocent performing family, entirely, completely, fully, absolutely, solely on the completely massive television stage. It is completely, entirely, highly massive, deeply, aggressively, actively, completely, entirely, totally, absolutely, entirely, completely, successfully, carefully, mathematically, completely, thoroughly, strictly, totally designed to completely, entirely, actively, aggressively, heavily, strictly, fundamentally brainwash the completely entire massive global innocent human television audience. The viewers are completely, entirely, heavily, successfully trained to entirely, completely expect massive human trauma entirely, totally, perfectly, instead of entirely pure, massive, flawless musical harmony, completely, actively, entirely, always. Moving entirely, completely, absolutely, directly, strictly, completely, heavily, massively, entirely, completely, actively, forcefully, successfully, absolutely forward into the absolute, entirely, complete, totally next massive, highly terrifying global television round. The sound completely, entirely, absolutely, deeply, highly, heavily faces a completely massive, entirely, absolutely, incredibly terrifying, deeply intense psychological human choice. They absolutely, completely, entirely, perfectly, completely, deeply, fundamentally, totally, entirely must decide. Completely, actively, directly, entirely, actively, heavily, rapidly, whether to completely, actively, deeply, successfully, completely, absolutely, strictly, heavily, fully, totally, aggressively abandon their entirely, completely, highly massive, beautiful, pure acoustic family, completely entire identity.
If they completely, entirely, actively, completely refuse to entirely, actively, artificially, completely, highly, completely manufacture completely fake, massive human television trauma, they will completely die.